guys, Dylan Johnson from Soccermag here, and we are back with another episode. There's not really too much going on at the moment since we're recovering from the Euros and Copa America. So I thought I'd just today go through a couple news stories, chat about some transfers, chat about what's going on. First thing I'm going to speak about is probably like one of the more covered stories that's happened recently. Gareth Southgate resigning from England after the Euros. And I think this is surprising in some ways, but not so surprising in others. I think it's almost reached the boiling point. England were the favourites to win the Euros, and I think, the nature of how they played in the tournament was his undoing, not necessarily the results. Gareth Southgate has probably been the best manager England have had in the modern era. He has definitely taken them to, back-to-back Euro finals, semi-final and a quarter-final of a World Cup. And in the quarterfinal, lost to France. Semi-final, could have maybe done better losing to Croatia. But overall, I think in 2016 when he signed, no one would have predicted he would have done what he has done. And I think it's a good time for him to leave, because I feel when he took over, England were almost at their lowest point. The squad wasn't great. The tension in the team wasn't very good. The relationships between the players in the team wasn't very good, and Southgate has completely changed that. I think now England's probably in the best place it's been. Obviously, they didn't win, but if you look at it from a foundational point of view, their squad is amazing, one of the best in the world. The players' relationship, even though they play for competing clubs in the Premier League, is probably better than ever. You don't have players, like the stories that Gary Neville and Steven Gerrard and Jamie Carragher always talk about, where they wouldn't even speak to each other at training. They would just keep to their own clubs. So that culture's completely been eradicated. And the favourite is Eddie Howe from Newcastle. And I think objectively he's a great manager. I think he would suit England. I think he would I'm not going to say Gareth Southgate purposefully restrain the players, but he did play a very reserved brand of football. It was making sure they don't lose, as opposed to if someone like Eddie Howe took over England. I think I can see him playing a way more positive style. He'd probably get the best out of players like Saka, maybe not Harry Kane, because Harry Kane's always been reliable for England. Players like Cole Palmer, players like Phil Foden. I think Eddie Howe's also a great manager as well, so he brings a good mix. Problem is, obviously, how are they going to get him out of Newcastle? I think he's comfortable there. Maybe he didn't do as well as they would have wanted to last season, but I think overall, if you're looking at the project from where they were 2-3 years ago to where they are now, they're still in a very favourable position. I think the biggest problem being I don't see how England can get him away from Newcastle. I think also if you're looking at the manager market, who are Newcastle going to replace him with? Thomas Tuchel, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if Thomas Tuchel will go there. So it's an interesting dynamic that England have going, but they've got time. It's 2 years till the next World Cup, and I don't think there'll be many changes to the squad. It's a very young group of players. I think maybe I don't see Eddie Howe leaving Newcastle, but I think he would be great for the job. Staying with the Premier League, a bit of an update, Lucas Paqueta and his betting scandal. So it's been reported that he will actually be able to play the majority of next season. His hearing has been not postponed, but extended, the investigative period or whatever it's called. His case won't be heard, won't be confirmed anytime soon. So one of the concerns was that he would have to be banned from European football and you have to be loaned to South America. That's not going to happen this season, or at least till the end of for the majority of the season. Essentially, what happened is Paqueta has been always being investigated for breaching betting rules by purposefully getting yellow cards. He has been accused of doing it on at least four separate occasions, and one of the ways they picked this up was that there were Betway accounts who sponsor West Ham, and there were abnormalities in the trends of these accounts betting. So there was another Brazilian player that plays for Real Betis, and they were linked. So basically, these accounts would be betting on specific players like Paqueta and this guy to get yellow cards in specific periods at specific games. So that's what he's under investigation for, and the FA are looking, if he is found guilty of it on all occasions, to be banned for the rest of his lifetime ban. And the precedent they have is that there was a player in the lower leagues in the FA Cup recently that has received a 10-year ban for personally getting a yellow card just for one game. So if found guilty, Paqueta's in serious trouble. But for now, he's still going to play for the season. The next topic I'll move on to is probably the biggest news of the week, probably going to end up being one of the biggest stories of the transfer window. It's Leny joining Manchester United for 50 million euros initially, and then rising up to potentially 62 million. So probably potentially reaching 56, 57 million pounds, or 52, 53 million pounds in that region. He's 18 years old, and he is rated as the best centre-back prospect, not only in his age group, but in the world. He had a great season for Lille last year. I'm not going to be that guy that says I know everything about Leny. I heard of him briefly last year as social media accounts point him out. He is so young, but only really started watching videos of him and like learning more about him when I found out Liverpool were interested about like a month or two ago. So I'm not going to come and give you the prime analysis about how this is the best player that we've ever seen, etc. But he is undoubtedly one of the best centre-back prospects in the world. He made his debut for Lille when he was just 16. So him being 18 years old now, he's had nearly 2 years of experience at the highest level. And last season in particular, he was Lille's best defender. His stats are amazing. He was, if you compare his stats to the other Manchester United centre-backs, so Harry Maguire, Lindelof, Varane, Martinez, he beats them in every category. He did play more minutes than them. He did play more games because they did have injury problems. But he had a 92% passing accuracy, and his interceptions and tackles were almost double every other United centre-back. So already he's coming into a team and he has the potential to be their starting centre-back straight away. So going into the fee, there are question marks over it because £50 million for an 18-year-old that's only really had one full season in Europe's top 5 leagues is a lot of money, especially with there being no guarantee that in a year or two's time he's going to reach his ceiling. Real Madrid were the favourites. Yoro made it clear he only wanted to go to Real Madrid. Real Madrid were not willing to pay more than 30 million for him, and his contract expired in 12 months. So taking all those things into account, it is an expensive deal. I think he's earning well over £100,000 a week as well. So I think you can say that there are still question marks over the way Man United do business. This is a great player with huge potential, but United are still paying over the odds. But when it comes to price tags around players, as the cliche sounds, only time will tell. He can end up being like Virgil van Dijk, where no one ever mentions his fee. No one even thinks or talks about Virgil van Dijk being the most expensive defender in the world at one point, because he is still considered a bargain for the price he paid, versus someone like Harry Maguire, where you can't get through 2 sentences without someone mentioning that he was the most expensive defender in the world. I think it will be a great signing. It's at least an exciting signing. It's better than, it's towards the right steps United are making with Joshua Zirkzee, with potentially being interested in Matthijs de Ligt. These are, positive signs. They're not just going for the Paul Pogbas, the Jadon Sanchos, the, Casemiros, etc. Bit more method to what they're doing. Let me see if there's anything else. Oh, should I say what type of player he is? So he is the way he plays. He is the modern day centre back. He is 1.9 meters tall or 6'3", so he is a serious aerial threat. He did score a couple goals for Lille last season, I think 3 or 4. And he is great on the ball. Like I said, 92% passing accuracy last season. He's great under pressure with the ball as well. He's great from building through the back. And he could be a very interesting partner for Lautaro Martinez. Both, 6'3", Martinez a bit shorter, but both really good on the ball. Left-sided, left-footed, right-sided, right-footed for Yoro. So overall, he's very promising, and he was one of the best 1v1 defenders in Ligue 1 last season. Only 3 players got dribbled past less than him the whole season, and he had one of the highest one-on-one duel success rates in the competition. So overall, the package that United will be getting is a rough, very promising, potentially labeled generational talent for a high fee. So we'll see what happens. I think he's already good enough to be a starter for Man United, but one of the concerns being that he wanted to go to Real Madrid really badly, and how long will he be there for? He signed a 5-year deal till 2029, and the way things go, Real Madrid get what they want eventually. So maybe 2-3 years time, he'll be moving there. But I think what's guaranteed is that if he stays at the level he's performing, United will at least make a profit. Moving on, staying with defenders and Premier League, Ricardo Calafiori's deal to Arsenal has stalled. And this is because, firstly, both sides can't agree on a fee. Bologna are not budging on their their price tag above 40 million, and Arsenal unwilling to match that. One of the reasons people are saying is that they can't afford it, but I think Arsenal have just been hard negotiators. They have been for a couple of years. They are only willing to pay the fee they accept or they feel is worth the player. You look at sagas like Mudryk, where even though they wanted him really badly, they did not budge unless they deem the player evolutionary, like Declan Rice. So they've got a player. I mean, they're interested in him. They want him. They've agreed personal terms over the past 2 weeks. The problem is that they want to include Jakob Kivior in the deal, and he isn't wanting to go to Bologna. I think Bologna are interested in him. He is a good defender. He would do well for Bologna, but he is wanting to wait for a bigger club. I think in his eyes, he's thinking, why would I trade Arsenal? Even though he's a squad player, he still gets decent minutes to essentially, even though Bologna in the Champions League regress, because there's no guarantee, especially after Bologna losing all of their main players, they will still be in the Champions League again. They said that AC Milan is his preferred destination, but who knows? At the end of the day, I don't see Arsenal completing the deal until a player is sold. So be that Kivior, be that someone else, the deal's probably, I'm not going to say it's falling through. That's just not at all what's happening. But someone has to move for Calafiori to come in. The final point I'm moving on to now is Trent Alexander-Arnold's future, or Liverpool's business in general. So Liverpool, no secret, they need to have a seriously effective transfer window, and it won't just be for incoming players or outgoings, it'll be contracts. There are three of arguably the most important players in the squad, Virgil van Dijk, Mo Salah and Trent Alexander-Arnold, are all approaching the final year of their contracts. So in 6 months, they can agree with the club to leave for free. Now Trent is reportedly, or he's not reportedly interested, but there's rumors that Real Madrid have started negotiating with him on the potential move in 6 months' time. And this would be an absolute catastrophe from Liverpool's perspective. Besides the emotional aspect of Trent Alexander-Arnold and his relationship with Liverpool, Trent Alexander-Arnold is one of the most valuable players in the world. Love him or hate him, you cannot deny that. Looking at fees that other people are paying, £50 million for Leny Yoro, Trent would be close to 100 million, if not more. And to lose that for free, And I'm not even including the emotional aspect, because there's also the catastrophe would also be more than the financial aspect, that losing the Scouse in your team, as he's labelled, for free, but the successor to Virgil van Dijk as captain, would be... you can't even actually put to words, because he's effectively the new Steven Gerrard. Imagine losing Steven Gerrard for free in his prime. Trent's about to enter his prime. He's 26 years old. Last season, he played really well. And Arne Slot needs the best possible chance to succeed. And Trent Alexander-Arnold has been at the heart of Liverpool's success since he broke into the team as a teenager. So to have that sort of uncertainty off the pitch, including Van Dijk and Mo Salah, it can't be easy for him to now come in and judge players and who we're going to sign, who we're going to sell, when Liverpool haven't secured those contracts. And it's kind of a sign of how Liverpool always viewed, say, 4 or 5 years ago, maybe even three years ago, maybe, as one of the best operating clubs in the Premier League. But to let your 3 biggest stars, your 3 most influential players, and I don't think anyone would argue that, I think Alisson would come in then as the 4th most influential player. That's the spine of the team. Get down to losing. Imagine in 12 months' time, all 3 of those players leave for free. That is hundreds of millions of pounds gone. You have to rebuild the entire team, and hundreds of millions of pounds again. And also, what happens then? Does Alisson leave? He sees the best players leaving. So it's a complete mess that needs to be resolved quickly. And I'm of the opinion that these are the kind of players you don't play hardball with. You get the contract signed and then keep them happy. And I think it's that simple. Obviously, I'm not saying pay them millions and millions and millions a week or whatever, within reason. But these are the kind of players that they give you a number and we'll get back to you now and like negotiate or whatever. You say, okay, that's what's reasonable, what's not. So yeah, that's pretty much all from me. Leny has joined Man United. Calafiori's deal stalled. Southgate's left England. Lucas Paqueta should be able to play this season, and Trent has attracted interest from Real Madrid. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and yeah, cheers guys.